Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't too bad. It can go this way just a little bit. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Are you hot? Terrible. Good, wonderful morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel as I boss, joined by the incredible Scout Dog, who is not going to sit still. He's a little rambunctious this morning. So, in Monday's update video, the first part of that video got cut off. So, this is part 2 of the update that should have been. Anyway. Yeah, for some reason, it took over 800 still frames of me as I was walking Scout through the woods doing the first part of the update video. Go figure. Anyway, so hopefully this one will turn out. So, the update is that last Sunday morning, about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, Mrs. Boss was out walking this brute that I'm joined by that you currently can't see because he's looking at chickens. And apparently the ducks were coming close. Mrs. Boss is not as strong as I am. The dog knows that. And he hates ducks. Why he hates ducks, I don't know. Long story short is Mrs. Boss got pulled over on her face. She's fine. Didn't hurt herself or anything. And then the leash got pulled out of her hand, and apparently our big female Peking duck, affectionately known as Gertrude, wound up in the mouth of this beast, and he shook her hard. I mean hard. And of course I was outside doing something and heard the ruckus and came over, and Gertrude was laying on the ground. I yelled. He let go. Gertrude's laying on the ground bleeding very badly, mortally wounded. So, as I talked about in a previous video about homesteading, and I believe it's Ducks and Chickens was the name of that video, sometimes as the homesteader, the farmer, whatever you want to call yourself, you have to make those hard decisions where, things need to happen. So I put her down. How I do that, and I'll never make a video about it, showing it, but we'll talk about it, is I take a hatchet and chop their heads off. It's the quickest, cleanest, instant, lights out. Birds, their bodies move after their head is missing, but it's just nerves. There's no life there. So that left me in a predicament. I was at 3 males and 1 female at that point in time. Another thing about ducks is there's no really nice way to put this other than they are humpity. They hump like mad. Don't know why, but they do. Way more than chickens. So that left me with 3 males, 1 female, and she would have basically been humped to death with 3 males. So another hard decision had to be made, and you're already gonna butcher 1 duck, you may as well, if you need to add more to it, that's the time to do it. So I put down 2 more of the males. So I chose one of the khaki Campbells and our great big white Peking male. His name was Bill. So those 2 got put down. So Bill and one of the Glens. And I don't really care for duck meat. It's okay. Last spring we butchered some, and I tried them on the grill, and it was just meh. So my neighbor across the street, neighbor Steve, he does enjoy it a good bit. So I butchered them out and brought those over to Steve. Actually, Steve came over and got them. Yeah, he likes them that well. So We are down to 2 ducks. They are both khaki Campbells. So we have Naomi Campbell and Glenn Campbell are the last 2 of the ducks. I am not this year planning to add more ducklings, but definitely in the future, maybe next spring, I'll look at adding 4 or 5 more because I do have a demand for their eggs. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's the way it goes. So, end of that story. Alright, and yes, I need a hairdo very badly. Mrs. Boss cuts my hair, and we just haven't made time for a hairdo, but I definitely need a hairdo. It's a great hat day. Anyway, so in yesterday's videos, a comment came up by a couple of folks whom I respect dearly, and that would be Fern and Mike, and also Tony F. Fern and Mike are married. Speaking about chainsaw safety. And I answered the comment, and then the more I thought about my answer, it was that I'm being attacked by a bug. Get out of here. You know, in the written word, it may have come off that I was angry or displeased, or how dare you make that comment, and absolutely not. So I thought I would address it in video form so you guys do know that I took it seriously. Tried to explain why my saw, the chain spins at idle, and you know, I hope that I didn't create hard feelings by you know, writing in the comment. So just a little bit about my background. And first of all, let me start by saying, oh, we're going to get a helicopter. Okay, so my credentials with the chainsaw. First of all, let me say that I take safety extremely seriously. I've been running saws now for 30 plus years. I think I got my first saw in 1990, and my first saw was an old Homelight, probably from the 70s. It was well used when I got it, and pardon me, and it didn't have any safety equipment on it, really. It didn't have a chain brake, it didn't have any of the fancy new anti-vibration gadgets or anything to take fatigue off you. It was just, it cut wood, not greatly at that. So that was my first chainsaw, and then I started buying, as my firewood business grew, I started buying steel chainsaws that were modern for the time. I had 044, 066, you know, big saws. I lived up in the Gaylord area at that time, and there's a lot of big timber up there, so I got bigger equipment. Fast forward, after I moved down south, I didn't really have any chainsaws. Took, you know, several years off from running them. Too busy in the oil field at that point to do very much cutting. Then I ran my brother-in-law's Husqvarna and fell in love with Husqvarna. Husqvarna was the bomb. So fast forward a few more years, I started a landscaping company, and went and bought a brand new Husqvarna for the company, and we did a lot of things like lot clearing and tree falling and you know, maintenance for folks. And I ended up selling that saw when I moved to North Dakota, because here's a secret about North Dakota. There's a pretty girl behind every tree, and there's only 3 trees in the whole state. Not true, but there's not a good deal of timber in North Dakota. It's mostly prairie grasslands, so didn't need a saw out there. So when we bought this house, and we have a wood stove, the house came with our wood stove. Mrs. Boss went and for Christmas and bought me a brand new Remington chainsaw, and I've used it a good bit. It's might have 20 hours on it, but I don't think so. Not impressed with it. So at that point I started looking for a used saw, and that's when I got my Husqvarna 350. I found it on Let Go, an app called Let Go, and it's a dynamite little saw. The chain brake does not work, and I have not bothered to buy a replacement. I'm sure I could find one on eBay or Amazon or someplace, but I just haven't, because, you know, my first saw didn't even have a chain brake on it, so it doesn't bother me. I do run the saw, all my saws, with the chain a little bit loose. They will have a tendency to spin at idle. My big saw, not so much, but that little Husqvarna just does, and I'm used to it, and I'm very careful about it. I do wear all the safety gear, from logging boots to chaps to, you know, full face mask, helmet, visor, you know, for kickback protection. Wear gloves. So thank you for being concerned. Knock wood, I've never been hurt by a chainsaw. What gets me most of the time is briars poking through my pants, through my t-shirt, through my sweaters in the wintertime, and just tearing me up, scratching me, scuffing me. I will be careful. If you notice, when I'm out in the woods working, I always tip my saw back behind me, so if I trip and fall on my face, I'm not going to fall on the saw. I don't walk with my hand on the trigger. I take it very seriously, guys. I don't ever want to get hurt. You notice also in my videos, I move slow in the woods. And it's not because I'm 51 years old either. It's because I'm using caution. I am looking, being as absolutely as careful as I possibly can. Should I repair that saw, put a new chain brake on it? Probably. Or should I just replace it with a brand new saw? Probably, maybe. You know, that saw runs great. It cuts like a beast for its size. I like it. It's light. Yeah, I feel like now I'm kind of beating a dead horse. So, but thank you guys for your concern. I appreciate, and if you see me doing something unsafe, please bring it up in the comments. Please contact me with it. There's a better, safer way to do things. I want to know about it. I'm not an expert. I've never been a lumberjack. I've never been a tree faller. Never been a sawyer. Those are kind of the same thing, but you know, I do my best. Yeah, I guess another reason why I don't want to replace that little Husqvarna is I've spent about $5,000 in equipment this year, tackling this big wood project that I have going on that y'all are joining me in. So, with that being said, guys, if you enjoy the content, hit the old thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It's free. It doesn't even hurt. Hit the bell. That way you know when I'm releasing new videos. Scout, don't even think about chickens. I don't know why. He doesn't mind the chickens. He hates the ducks. So until next time, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.